What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded, the only place that has been proven to be a lore channel that is COVID-19 free. Definitely don't forget to hit that like button as well as subscribe, and check me out at twitch.tv/lore reloaded or twitter.com/lore reloaded, which is vitally important. It's vitally important. Right now, I'm at 1940. We can get to 2000. We can do better. All right, we're going to give it a second, see how things pan out. I know YouTube has been a little weird in sending out notifications as well as letting people know that it's live. So it's kind of weird. I don't even know that it's going to get sent out, but we'll see. What's going on, Frost Witch? Hope everyone is doing well. I have just watched the season finale for Picard, and we're definitely going to go through it. So while this is getting started, I'm going to ask for a little leeway, and I don't want to have the discussion in the chat. So I'm going to do that, where I'm going to talk about something, but I don't want you guys to necessarily get into an argument about it. Because there are some revelations that occurred that I want to be just completely honest about with you. So, first off, even though I have a lack of a belief in a god or gods, I have always pretty definitively been pro-life. I believe that life begins at conception. Ultimately, we can't know, so you don't take a chance on it. That's not a religious thing. That's just how I see it. I don't begrudge anyone else their views or anything like that. So if you don't think it is, or you whatever, it's not. It's honestly just whatever. It doesn't really offend me. However, after the series finale of Picard, I realized the error of my ways, that I should have been pro-choice my entire life. Not even that. I really think that had we started destroying all babies a while back, we wouldn't have had someone write this series finale. I now wish for the destruction of all babies, so that we can never again have what we had in this series finale. So I wanted to, proclaim that, and then we can actually, get it started. Shout out to Mark for helping out the channel, saying consolation prize for my distaste with the finale. To say that I didn't like it is probably an understatement. It did all of the worst things you can do. It is honestly a very solid Discovery episode. I will say that. It is a very solid Discovery episode. There was pandering without having any kind of markup to it. We'll get into it. Hontus Farmer, so bad even you want to kill all humans. No, it's not just humans. I want to kill babies. This made me want to kill babies. I'm guessing things went badly in Picard. They did. Are you guys ready to get into it? Are you ready to just break it down, as they say in the Latin? That's actually true Latin. It is. It's. All right, hold on. Bam! All right. So we're going to do a scene-by-scene breakdown, kind of like what we've done before. You guys know the drill. I'm going to give my opinions. I'd be interested to see what you think about it as we go through it. Born Mush, oh God, another guy who hates it. Yeah, I mean, when you make really bad storytelling, when you have really bad storytelling, then people aren't going to like it. It's okay, Born Mush. It's okay. Shh, baby. Don't worry. I'm sure there's a safe space somewhere for you. All right, who died? No one. Well, we'll get into it. We'll break it down, as it were. Oh, so anyway, before we really get into it, Born Mush, you obviously don't know anything about my channel, given that you would say the things you've done. Welcome. I hope your brain aneurysm that you're having right now gets over pretty quickly. I would hate for that to be negatively impacting to you. All right, so let me do this real quick. Because as much as I like CBS shutting down my live streams, There are some interesting pieces here, as well as some, schlock beyond that. One of the things I do like, though, that I think most people will enjoy is probably the scenery. The cinematography, when it comes to this episode series, really. The cinematography, the camera work, all of that is just absolutely excellently done. You have the 3 layers here, which is fun. You have a Borg cube, the mid layer, and then the back layer, as well as the sun. I didn't even notice the sun right there. So when it comes to looking at it, I think it's beautiful, the things they put together. Honestly, the weakest part of Picard is generally the storytelling here and there. Everything else is really, really on par. So ultimately, when we first begin, we have, what is his name? Narek, I guess. Spy, I'm a bad guy, but I'm still in love with you, Soji. I think his name's Narek. He is trying to escape. Ultimately, in the last episode, it is inferred that he killed someone and he's on the run. He finds his way to the Borg cube, which is kind of interesting. So one of the things that'll happen in this episode a lot, it feels like, is conveniences or a lack of time being a factor. So I'm not completely sure, and it never really tells us, where the Borg cube sets down. But he makes a run for it and suddenly is able to find the Borg cube. Now, in theory, maybe he went to the Borg, maybe he was told where the Borg cube was. We'll discuss that in a little bit later. But even then, they just instantly fast travel to wherever they need to go. So if they're in one spot and they need to be to another, they literally just fast travel when time is an issue in some instances. It's not really a huge deal. I don't think it's not something that I would be too totally upset with if I did not have issues with just the overall piece of it. There are also instances we're about to see where they do things in the previous episode, but it's undone. And I'll show you in just a second. But so yeah, he finds his way onto the Borg cube itself, trying to stay hidden from everybody, I guess, the XBs as well as the Borg and themselves. There is a scene while he's hiding that we see between Seven of Nine and Elnor. I thought this one was done really well. It's kind of a character building piece. When it comes to character building, I think generally they do pretty well with it. I don't like what they've done with Agnes, but between these two, it's kind of a sweet, I would say. I also think that it builds a little bit on the XBs or the X-Borg, because Elnor's talking about, what will become of them. Was it really a good thing to release them, to give them their freedom when everything that's ever going to happen to them is going to be negative? Everybody hates them. They're going to be hunted down. Seven of Nine points out that she's in the same fate, that she is just like them, so should she put a phaser to her head? And Elnor says that he likes her. I can see some people thinking that this is a little bit too dark. For the series and for the universe, I guess it's set in, I don't necessarily have a huge issue with it. One of the things that you really have to accept, I think I've stated this every time we do this, I think I've kind of stated this, you have to accept that it's a different writing style and that it's a different era of storytelling. So the darkness that we see here is just going to be what it is. Now, you can argue if that's good or bad, but it just is. So for the universe, I don't hate this. Again, I think it's a good way of showing the plight that the XBs are in. But it also highlights some of the major issues with the way Picard is done. So they show this, they talk about this idea, and then it's gone. They don't expand on it. They don't really do anything with it, as happens with everything that happens in this series. So again, it's not a horrible scene, but it adds some character, but it also relates ideas that will never be discussed again at any point, at least not in this episode. And I doubt they're really going to flesh them out in future episodes either. They also have this right here. Hold on, see if I can grab it. Wait for it. There it is. Something that we haven't seen before is these little drones. I can see people getting upset about the existence of these, whatever they are. Honestly, I think it's just a part of the ship repairing itself. Yeah, I don't put too much stock into it, but they have them flying everywhere beforehand. I don't like how they decided to have the Borg cube fix itself on that end, though. When we first see the Borg in The Next Generation, literally the technology heals itself. It's like the skin healing itself. We even see that. I think it would have been more interesting to try to mimic that kind of technology than to have things that are walking around or have things that are repairing, like drones, or like we saw in the last episode, those millions of tiny bots. Again, that's more a personal taste, but it's what it is. Then we, of course, have Narek and incest sister. I forget her name. She's so useless. This is the beginning of a lot of the issues with the episode. First off, if I remember correctly, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, she specifically beamed off of the Borg cube. Either that or she beamed to another location, and the scene made us think that she beamed off the Borg cube, making that scene absolutely useless. I don't know why she is still here or why she is a part of anything that's happening on the planet. The way it was made to seem last episode was that she joined the fleet. But apparently she didn't. Apparently the transporter failed, or maybe we had a Thomas Riker issue where she was beamed back aboard here, so there's now two sister incests. Or, I don't know, I guess she just beamed to another part of the Borg cube and decided she was going to be on it for a little while. They discuss their plans, what they want and need to do. Obviously, he needs to go back to try to stop the transmitter and kill all of the synthetics. She is going to stay and try to get the Borg weapon systems working. There are a few issues here. First off, I don't know how the hell 7 of 9 doesn't detect someone trying to get the Borg weapon systems working. I mean, we know that ultimately she comes to find her, but how she didn't notice this beforehand. Weapon systems are a pretty major thing on a ship, so if someone's trying to activate them or get them working, you think you'd notice that a little bit earlier. There's also more to the Borg weapon systems that we'll go through. The entire story plot for both of these two has not really made a ton of sense. I honestly feel that the reason why we even have these two is because they needed something for Soji to do while on the Borg cube while they got the team together earlier in the series. It feels like these two were just trying to be stopgaps to present some storyline. And unfortunately, I think that because of that, a lot of their motivations and where they are and how things work just don't make sense to me. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on it? I'd be curious what you guys think, where you guys going with it. As you guys know, what I generally will do is talk about it for a little while, and then I will move to you and look at your comments. Hopefully, Born Mush does not disappoint and gives me some good counters. That's Narissa. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. The two Zatvash agents just never made a ton of sense. Another thing to it, and again, it starts ideas and never expands on them. So in that scene, he's talking about how he is like the black sheep, how he got kicked out of the Zat Vash or something. We're never given any backstory to that, at least not to my knowledge. Maybe we were. And it's like, here's a plot point. Here it is. And then it gives it to you. It gives you that plot point, and then it just moves on. It's just like, hey, let me tell you this plot point. And then they don't expand on it. Why would you do that? I don't see the issue with that. She attempted to access the weapons and got caught by 7. She was there for a while based on the way that it was cut, the timing of it. It just seems, I don't know, highly convenient. Maybe she was hiding it. Again, it's not a huge issue necessarily. I'm not saying it's bad because of that only. A lot of people get confused. One of the So when you nitpick, it doesn't make the show bad if you nitpick one thing. It doesn't make the show bad if you have one specific piece that doesn't make a lot of sense. TNG and DS9 have specific instances that don't make a lot of sense. It's when you put it together and the story just falls apart. I think that you can still have a cohesive story, TNG Season 3 moving on. I think you can have a cohesive story with most all of DS9. Even Voyager generally will have a cohesive story. It's just when things get so bad that it just can't be there. What makes me mad is the lack of elite Oberth class fighters in the Federation fleet. I would agree. I think that was a shame. I don't know. My Irumodic syndrome flared up after watching this. Okay. It was great if you didn't pay attention to anything relevant to the plot. Well, yeah. I'll agree with that LDG picture. The data part was great, says Born Mush. When we get to the data part, we can discuss. I'm not saying at all hate. Yo, just noticed this was up. Does anyone else think this entire series would have been better if they had made the episodes an hour and a half long instead of 45 minutes? No, I think that they added things to the episodes that were unnecessary. I think they should have removed certain pieces and expanded plot points. So here's the problem. Here's my opinion of this problem. The entire problem when it comes to Picard. They have four major plot points. Got Samantha, one of the most beautiful women on planet Earth. Thank you for supporting the show. You don't have supported though, Samantha. Thank you though. So they got four plot points. They have the synthetics going crazy on Mars and killing everybody. They have and then, Starfleet having issues with that. We have the Zhat Vash, who are scared of this incoming threat that basically Mass Effect. Yes, they went Mass Effect. Now you can say they went Mass Effect. Everything up to now was more BSG, I wouldn't think Mass Effect, but now they went Mass Effect. So you have a Mass Effect style enemy that's coming to kill everybody. Then you have Soji trying to figure out who she is, what she is as a person. And then you have a dystopian Starfleet world or federation or universe. And they really needed to pick two and focus on those two. They tried to do too much. They tried to cast too wide a net. And so I think that if they had just focused on two different plot lines, then they would have done a lot better. The Zhat Vash did nothing wrong. Did they do nothing wrong, though? Did they? Okay, so moving on. Oh, no. So let me see here. Now, here's an interesting piece to this. Give me a second. Wrong button. When I watched last episode, based on, and I don't know if it's the actress who does Soji, her specific acting or what it is. But when I watched last episode and I saw Soji, I was like, yeah, she's Trojan horsing it. Soji is not, first off, there's a couple things. So to instantly turn like this, just because someone gave a good speech, even if they're a part of your own species, doesn't make any sense. Soji has been with the crew. She knows what humanity is and can be like. So I honest to God thought she was Trojan horsing because she saw the way the wind was blowing. She saw that the crowd was turning against Picard. There wasn't really a lot that she was going to be able to do to convince them at that moment. So she was like, you know what? You're right. We can't trust any of the humans. We can't trust them all. Let's bring about apocalypse. And then in this episode, the one we're watching right now, she was going to save him and be like, that was stupid. I know the truth. How are we going to stop it? But no, apparently all it takes for Soji has Picard has went out of his way to try to save Soji. He has sacrificed almost everything. He has put himself in danger. He has gotten himself killed so many times, almost gotten himself killed so many times. He has taken her to other people so that she can see it's not just him, but other people who are kind and willing to put themselves on the line to save her. She has seen what the best of humanity can be, and that it is not the end of everything. And yet, all it takes is a couple of words by the Sung whatever android, and she's like, you know what? Yeah, screw humanity, screw them all, screw them all. And she even uses things that are taken out of context because that's what you do if you're stupid. So she's like, look what happened on Mars. You got rid of all those synthetics. She knows that it was a Romulan ploy that forced them to do that they played on fear. She is aware that it wasn't the Federation being like, you know what, I don't like someone who doesn't look like me, so let's just kill them all. It was fear based on something done by the Romulans. It is very clear that the Romulans are the bad guys, not the Federation. Now, you could make an argument that they're easy to fear, but again, if you look at all their good qualities, you can talk to them and have your mind changed. Even hers was. I mean, another thing that frustrates me about this is Soji makes a connection with Riker's kid. And I thought that was a really well done scene. I like their connection. I like the two playing off each other. She's just going to let that kid die, because that's what's going to happen. That kid is going to die. That kid is going to die a gruesome death. That kid is going to relive the Matrix, is what's going to happen. And it's going to be ripped, shredded. So she doesn't care about Picard. She doesn't care about that kid. I mean, again, it's just taking the stupid stick and not looking at context in any way. I'll say this, though. That is very TNG style writing. Even the original series writing, I will say. So if they wanted to hit for TNG, doesn't make a lot of sense. Going to be evil because that's what the plot needs. Nailed it. Nailed it 100%. I honestly didn't really... And here's my problem with this too. We know the truth. We know that this is not how it's portrayed. So when she's trying to give her side or her point of view, it doesn't mean anything because we know it's wrong. It would be like if Hitler and Churchill decided to have a conversation and Hitler was trying to justify, we know what Hitler's doing is wrong. Empathizing with him in that way is not going to make it. You have to be a lot more, I don't want to say nuanced, but subtle maybe, or I don't want to say subtle. I use that a lot. Clever. A lot more clever in your writing if you're going to do something like that. Again, it just, for me, fell completely on deaf ears. Now, I have a question for you guys. Well, first off, again, the cinematography and the shots are just done so excellently. I would love to meet the cinematographer or the DP of this show. Let me ask you guys a question though. I'm waiting for it to pull up. Give me a quick moment. There is a tool here. A save all. Where did that thing come from? I guess I must have missed it because did they get it from the synthetics? Because I'll admit, when I saw that thing, I have no idea what that is, nor where it came from. So if you guys can help me with that, I would appreciate it. I don't like someone that doesn't look like me, so kill them all. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. And you even got me to say it. So rock it out, good sir. Many people did speculate that Soji would not turn against Picard. However, many also thought that Soji would confront Sutra, creating two opposing synth factions. That would have been interesting. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. LDG Pixels, that is no. Oh, by the way, CBS is free this month, so no copyright on this episode. No, that's not how copyright works. They can give their stuff for free, and if you play it, you can still get hit with copyright. That is not how copyright law works. So please do not, unless CBS just said that they're going to let you play it without worrying about it, don't put it up thinking that you are okay, because that is not how copyright works. Lore Reloaded, Saga gave that to Rafi in the previous episode. Saga. Are you Saga? Is Saga part of the synthetics? It's Star Trek's improved sonic screwdriver. It is that. It is a magical device. So here's what I'll say about this specific piece of technology. How many people just got headaches? This piece of technology right here. I'm going to show it to you guys again. There's a couple of things about it. So first, when it comes to Star Trek, the way Star Trek is, said as a joke, LDG. Sorry, I don't mean to get sidetracked. Okay, cool. LDG, I was just worried about you getting hit with copyright, man. I didn't want you to get hit with copyright. So when it comes to that piece of technology, there's two pieces to it. The first is that it is magic. That piece of technology is utterly magic. You can try to say that it is technology that's within the universe, but if you create a wand that does everything that you see in Harry Potter, if you create a wand in Trek and say, oh, it's just technology, it's not technology, it's magic. And so it can be breaking to the universe when you create something that just can do everything and has no basis in other technology that we've seen in the past. Especially if the heroes have it and they can't, and they just use it for whatever they want. That said, this isn't the first piece of magical equipment. I would say that the self-replicating minds that are cloaked in DS9 are magic. Even based on the explanation that they give. It's sometimes they just have to do, I don't want to say MacGuffins, but they have to create something to stop it, So I don't know. There is still a part 2 to this. We're discussing the part 2. One Ali. We're discussing it. It's science in that it's magic we don't understand yet. No. See, I completely disagree with that. So yes, I would say that any kind of technology that you don't understand would look like magic. Yes. I too have watched philosophers and read philosophy. And also have seen the Thor movies. I too have done that. But when you look at a show and you write a story, things need to stay consistent. That is one of the main rules of being a dungeon master in D&D. So if wood has a specific consistency, unless there is a special reason that it wouldn't, all wood should have that consistency. So when it comes to technology and the way that it's portrayed, the technology, unless they have a special circumstance and it's used very sparingly, should have the same consistency. This breaks all of that. This breaks all of that in almost every way. So, it's not like they don't do this from time to time. Again, Deep Space Nine relies on magic for it to work. But I don't know. It is, I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know, that's a Deus Ex Machina, I guess it could be. But going back to it, looking at it specifically, good friends. So they have this technology. Some of the dialogue I like is actually pretty witty. He says what was it? The whatever's fused. I forget what it was. The whatever's fused, and I can't fix it. I have to get a new one. The industrial replicator Could make a new one, but I can't get that working because the whatever the hell is fused. I thought that was pretty well done. I like that dialogue for the most part. Ultimately, he does use this tool of the ages to get it to fix whatever they're trying to fix, the whatever that was fused, and basically they get the ship running. Now, here's another issue I have. They get the ship running. The La Sirena could have fixed so many issues. There are so many things they could have done with the La Sirena that they didn't. Now that they got it completely up and running. It is frustrating to a degree. So yeah, they get it up and running. They now decide, oh, what are we going to do? And spoilers, they don't do a lot with it. They don't do a lot with this ship when this ship could have easily fixed so many of their problems. Like, devastatingly so many. But yeah, so one thing I will say though, as we're looking through this, if you watch, and you can't really see it all that well, but if you look in the bottom middle corner here, you see the construction of the tower that they're building, the Tower of Doom. Well, you see it working right here. I'm sorry, bottom right. You see the tower being constructed. And then to the middle right here, I don't know. I really like those lights, whatever the hell that is. And I do like the way that they are making the tower. One interesting thing that I think was fun was that the colony itself and the synthetics do feel like their own culture, their own species. The way they build stuff has its own distinct way of being put together. They appear to grow things versus actually construct them. We see that with the space flowers. We see that with the construction of the tower. It's just a consistency that I thought was really well put together. And I was, again, it's a small thing, but I enjoy the small things. I like subtlety. I like when things make sense. Another thing they did that was interesting to me. Now, if you know, I can't stand Agnes. I don't like her. I think she is a horribly written character. I think she makes the worst mistakes. She was actually the quote-unquote spy that I thought Soji was going to be. Now, to be honest, I saw that coming too. I thought her and Soji were both on the inside. But ultimately, she was the one who saw the way the wind was going and said, yeah, I want to help you guys. Ultimately, she betrays the synthetics and helps them to... or betrays the synthetics so that she can help Picard and so that they can figure out what's going on here. Interestingly enough, I do like the duality in what she does, though. She still helps them. She still goes through the processes, but she also uses the time to free Picard, which generally, if she was going to be a spy, I would have expected her to try to hinder them, not even help them at all. So I guess they definitely went past my expectations on that. Gonna do one more scene for you guys. And I did like this scene, I gotta admit. So you have Narek, spy, I'm a bad guy, throwing rocks at the ship. So they had just gotten the ship working, and all of a sudden they hear someone doing something outside. So he's throwing rocks, and Rios threatens him, says he wants to see, I think he says quantum torpedo. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that. Let me listen to that real quick. Because if that's stupid if he did. I just realized that. Hold on. Wait for it. Nope, he says photon. Okay. If he said quantum, I was going to be pissed off. All right. So he says, I'm going to hit you with a photon torpedo. Love to see what it does at this range. The Romulan abusive boyfriend says, I have these bombs, I guess, that'll blow your ship to hell and back, but I'm deciding to throw rocks because I want to help you defeat the bad guys. It was a good scene. It was very clever. Again, the writing in certain instances in this episode can really be on, really on it. Can really knock it out of the ballpark, in my opinion. So, but anyway, up to that point, what are your guys' opinion? Oh, we lost Mush Boy. That's unfortunate. I was hoping to have some back and forth with him. Oh well. What are you guys thinking about this, though? Let's see. Can you not see me? Make sure you can see me. You can. Why couldn't they use the tool to destroy the beacon? Just imagine it. Yeah, that's the problem when you start having magical devices. You can... that's the problem when you have magical devices. If they can do anything, then you need to use them for everything. And if you don't, it doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion, honestly. I don't think we're supposed to like Agnes. Yeah, I think they're writing her in a way that we're supposed to. I disagree. I think they're trying to. Species 8472 did do nothing wrong. That is absolutely accurate. I felt bad for the dead synth girl. You know, she killed by her friend and then mutilated for selfish reasons later on. You know, there's a lot of problems with that. We'll get into that in the future. There are a lot of problems with that. Let's see. What are you guys saying? I really liked the episode overall. I did not. I think this is one of the most horrid episodes. Honestly, this is the worst episode that they've made of Picard. I say that. I think that we should destroy all babies. No baby should be left alive if it means that we'll never have an episode like this again. I'm pure baby. I think your beard is glorious, but you need to trim on the top. My beard is always glorious, and I don't need to trim. They trusted Narek like so easily, and it was so fast, honestly. Yeah, that was a problem that I had as well. I think that Narek, the way that Narek was handled in this episode. Well, I mean, it's not just Narek. There's a lot of characters. Agnes brutally murdered a person, and she got away with it. They're just like, oh, look, you brutally murdered a person, but I guess law doesn't exist anymore. I guess that's what happens. It's, oh God. And then Narek's like, hey, we need to defeat the bad guys, and I didn't blow up the ship when I could, so I guess you can trust me forever and always now. That didn't make a lot of sense either. If everyone can put F in the chat for Dale, I think he had an aneurysm. I think he's hurting. Best episode yet. Just F in the chat, buddy. I'm sorry for the loss of your brain. Magnetic polarization of particular space using movement in the brain synapses to output the... What the hell are you talking about? This episode was bad, but Data's part made me cry. There were some good parts in it. I wasn't as pulled to the... I thought the scene with Data was interesting. But I don't think that... I didn't get too emotionally upset with it. But remember, it wasn't in cold blood, so it's excusable. That's right. It wasn't in cold blood. I was wrong. The definition of cold blood is different. And so I was wrong. All right. Let's continue on. Dale, you know I'm giving you a hard time, buddy. I was just kidding. All right. Here we go. So Narek comes and tells them the whole story. It's like they're building, Jean-Luc, JL, thank you so much for supporting. Riley, one of my good friends, who I've known forever. Thanks for helping out the channel. Did you say anything specific there? I heard you were killing babies, and I came a-running. I do, yeah. Me and Riley, we've been friends forever. Oh, man, in teenagers, we were idiots. We wanted to call up a conservative radio station, and he wanted to talk about how he thought abortion should be on demand and should be pushed, should be the number one. We were bad people when we were younger. So anyway, this show has made me pro-choice. in that all babies should be destroyed. So we have Narek. We have the bad spy telling them what's going on, that the camp, all of them have turned against Picard. As you do, they're building this communication device that's going to bring this evil, which is never explained. We never understand what it is or where they're coming from or what's going on. It can always be built, and so the threat isn't gone. They're just stopping for right, or we'll get into that in a minute. So ultimately, he talks all of them into it, even though Elnor shows up, which was a fun scene. So Elnor shows up and is about to kill him. Let me see if I can pull that scene up. Whoop. Let me pause it right here. Elnor shows up, puts a sword to his throat. One thing I did enjoy about this is he does say, "I do want to live," which is awesome. The spy, Narek, says, "I do want to live." I really like that they keep playing off of that saying, even though it annoyed some people. I really do enjoy that saying. Now, here's the thing that gets me. They're going to talk about it a little bit later. But, well, no, we'll wait for that. So they have this scene. They basically believe the dude. They're like, okay, you know what? Checks out. We then have someone who is helping out the channel. "Don't hurt the babies, just pull out the eyes," says Joseph Patrick. You know, I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe that's where we need to go. So we have the scene right here where they're trying to get the information and the optical information from the dead synth to see what happened and to give to the people to show, her last memories and whatnot. Agnes is helping out with that. Agnes then rips out her eyes because, of course, she rips out her eyes. Why wouldn't Agnes rip out the eyes of the android? Why wouldn't we hear the nice, juicy, scintillating parts of the eyeball being ripped out? Like why wouldn't you have that in your Trek? Why wouldn't you? Here, let's just listen. Let's just hold on. Shh. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Here it is. Here it is. Oh yeah. Oh, juicy. Oh. Yeah. Oh man, don't you love that? Don't you love the sound, the ADR, where you just hear her fingers digging into the soft tissue? Isn't this what we want in our Trek? Isn't it just glorious? Isn't it just wonderful? It's just beautiful. Anyway, so Agnes is tearing out her eyeball. We're not sure exactly why she's doing that, but we will see in the future. Again, she has gone all spy and is on Picard's side. The next scene we have shows that it's night. So apparently it's taking them forever to build this, which I guess can make sense. They're growing it. It's taking them forever to build this transmitter. So it moves to night and they're all outside. And the reason why they're all outside is going to be talked about in a later point. But what they decide to talk about is this Romulan myth of basically Mass Effect. They're telling the story we already know in the series finale. They're telling the story we already know. They're just making up names and mythologies, calling them demons in the series finale. Now, this does confirm it is completely Mass Effect, as well as Battlestar Galactica. All of this has happened before, and it'll happen again. This needed to happen like in episode 5 or 6. They needed to have this conversation when they were still trying to figure out who the main bad guy is. Why are you wasting my time rehashing? Why, instead of just doing this, why don't you just replay like scenes from the past and we'll just put them together like that? It's utterly unnecessary. And if you're going to do this and you're going to try to make it mythology, that's fine. I don't hate that. That's creative. But if you're going to do that, then what I need you to do is I need you to do it earlier and not when we already know everything that is going to happen. And here's another thing. Again, I don't understand why. So you got this world-ending event, right? So you see the Lost Arena. You see they're right outside of it. You have this world-ending event, and you're trying to save everything. But it's night, and you know, what the hell? Let's have a campfire. Let's just do it. Even if you need a rest, why are you having a campfire out? I don't understand. I don't. Why would you do that? Why would you do that when everything hangs in the balance? It makes very, very little sense to me. Now, here's something that makes even less sense. So we have the get together. How are we going to stop these people? How are we going to do it? How are we going to win the day? So let's talk about what they have. Let's put all of this together. So it's the four of them. You got a ninja Vulcan, a ninja Romulan hybrid, Tal Shiar agent. That's not even just Tal Shiar, but Zad Vash. You got Rios, who is a Starfleet, former Starfleet officer, has his own. Well, we'll talk about that. He is very resourceful and is able to do all kinds of things. And you got a drug addict. So we also have, when it comes to the actual resources, we have those bombs, we have soccer balls, we have a ship that has phasers and photon torpedoes and is specifically designed to be hard to target. So what do? How are we going to do this? Well, the first thing we're not going to do is use the starship, because that is too easy. We're not going to take the starship, go up into orbit, and just knock that thing from orbit where they can't stop us. We're not going to use the speed of the ship to attack really quickly before the flowers can get to us and just blow that thing to Kingdom Come. We're not going to do that, because that has the best chance of us surviving and winning. And so we want to be sporting about this, right? We don't want to use any major advantage they couldn't stop if we tried it. We don't want to do that. So the Lost Arena, we're not going to use that ship, because that's stupid. That's way too easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this as convoluted as we can. So we're going to take a bomb. We're going to put it in a soccer ball. Okay, just hear me out. We're going to put it in a soccer ball. And then once we put it in a soccer ball, we are going to take the Tal Shiar agent, and we're going to turn him in. And then once we've turned him in, we're going to have one of our guys hiding out, have him jump over a railing, have him have an existential crisis about using the soccer ball to save all life, because God forbid the one person who turned on us is sitting right there, and we can't kill her, because if we kill her, then we might actually save the universe. Not that we want to kill her, because she's misguided or whatever, but let's have an existential crisis and not save the entirety of the alpha, beta, gamma, and delta quadrants. Let's not do that. Let's sit there and talk about it. Maybe have some tea time. Maybe we could sit down and have some tea while that thing is constructing. And then once she moves away, let's then kick the soccer ball or whatever the hell with the soccer ball and try to destroy it then. Because that's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it. When the fate of the galaxy is in the balance, you make it as convoluted as humanly possible. And that's their plan. I, for one, think it was a pretty good plan. But will it work? Will it work indeed? All right. Before we continue on, let's see what you guys are thinking. Star Trek Mass Effect. I would agree. It is indeed Star Trek Mass Effect. It's just sentient life in one galaxy, bro. Relax. It's not soccer. It's called football. Morning, I am numb to what I watched earlier. All of this was for naught. It was. It's like they needed the captain to do something super Latino. I didn't even think about that. I don't know that it was a stereotype. Maybe it was. Maybe. I didn't even consider that. I don't know. That was an expensive ball. Don't want to wreck it. That's true. That is true. Star Trek is always mixed. Nothing wrong with being a drug addict. Okay, fair enough. Just got done watching it, and John Walter does not know. Yeah, so I don't even know. Nope, the galaxy's lost. Everyone dies in Star Trek Picard. It's true. That's the ending. That is how the ending worked. Star Trek Mass Effect, so Picard chose the synergy option. Yeah, Star Trek, I did choose the synergy option. That is true. All right. TNG, now I'll grant that. You know, I make a big deal, but TNG did have a lot of needless existential crisis. That's not even me being sarcastic. They did. So that is a common trope of TNG, for them to have unnecessary existential crisis. So I'm not even joking about that. All right. So now we have Agnes. You see the mighty Agnes. Agni, as they say in the Latin. So she's going she is going full on spy. She's going double traitor, whatever. Interestingly, again, this wasn't something I don't know. I think this, when it comes to Agnes, was done fairly well. I don't know. Again, Agnes is such... In this, she's a mixed bag. I overall don't like her for the most part. But she is a mixed bag when it comes to all of this stuff. Her saving Picard, I guess... I dare say she was competent here. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm having issues with this piece because it's actually complimenting her. I don't know. Okay, so here we go. Wait for it. All right. So, she goes to save Picard, gets him out, all that good stuff. MP, supporting the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you for your donation and helping it. That's how I keep the lights on. As you guys know, I'm moving. All right, so let's go back to it. So Soong finds out that it was, in fact, the bad android. I forget her name. The bad android who helped kill one of the synths. And he realizes that this is deeper than they thought. And he knows that he was wrong. Now, this is actually very TNG-esque, where the bad guy does something stupid, and so there's no nuance, there's no gray, it's all black and white. Soong knows he's wrong. So knows that what he was doing is wrong. So I'm sure that the plot is going to make a lot of sense. He's going to go and passionately talk to the people and tell them and show them what she did and show Soji what she did and turn everyone's minds around. And this is how it's going to end. It's going to end on a very somber but uplifting note. He doesn't have the stupid stick lodged straight in his brain and isn't going to do the most idiotic things in order to have the plot move forward. That's not what's going to happen. Realizing the error of his ways, he is going to go and become the biggest advocate for Picard. And we can definitively see this because as the group is running and they're trying to hide and everything, we then see Soong come up to them. And you don't see them here, but this actually happens in the episode. He confronts them. He finds them as they're figuring out how to destroy the whatever it is, the dish of all death. During this time, apparently, so interestingly enough, they go to the camp. They don't take the La Sirena or anything. They just go to the camp. As they're going to the camp, Agnes grabs Picard, and Agnes and Picard go to the La Sirena. And Agnes and Picard decide that they are going to go up into space, because I guess as you do. We'll get back to them in a second. So let's see here. Now, here it is. Hold on. Wait for it, people. Wait for it. I'm as worried as you are too. All right, so here he comes. If you're looking at it, hold on. Here we go. Here he comes. You see Sung, you see our heroes, you see that they're putting together this communication thing of death. And so as they're doing it, he's walking forward, and you know that he is going to talk to everyone and show the evidence. You know that's exactly what's going to happen, except he doesn't do that. No, what he does. This is his grandiose plan. This is how he decides to fix everything. He grabs Evil chick. Evil, I'm a bad guy here. You see her. He grabs her. He's like, hey, let's have a chat. Let's you and me go and have a chat. Let's go and talk. Let's go behind this pillar, or whatever the hell this is, and let's just talk about our feelings. Let's do that. And then he points out, he's like, I know you killed her. I have the weapon. Here's the weapon. He tricks her. He says, I understand why you did it. And then he deactivates her. And then doesn't do anything. He does nothing. He does literally nothing. He sits back and watches the rest of all of this unfold. Because him going and showing evidence of her betraying and her killing one of their own would do nothing to convince Soji that, hey, maybe she's in the wrong. Maybe she is having the wrong thing. Because again, that plan where we show Soji that the person who was pushing for this is evil, that wouldn't work. Here's what we're going to do, my lads. Before that, let me read this. Sushi Juice, take out all the Star Trek elements and this could actually be a compelling story. But therein lies the problem. And did. All right. Here's the problem, my lads. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to, again, have this convoluted plan where the main heroes start a brawl, including Spy, I'm a bad guy, Narek. And then you're going to have Rios here. You're going to have Rios here with the soccer ball. And he's going to see Soji. And because Soji's there, he's going to be like, I don't know that I can do this. You know, I recognize that literally all of life will be destroyed. That these creatures will take the bones of little children and use it to clean their teeth. I recognize that'll happen, but I don't know that I can do this because she's right there. Because it's Soji. And I mean, I don't know that I can save all life as we know it because Soji might get hurt. And Soji cannot get hurt. It cannot happen. It's not okay. It's not okay. And so it fails. And she continues to build the plan because of the way it's done. And this is a fantastic part. So he waits forever, then he throws the bomb, and it still looks like he was trying to kill both her and the thing. Why are people stupid? This is what I don't like. This is why this is bad writing. They're stupid. It is written in a way that is stupid. Keep healthy, buddy. Greetings from Germany. Well, I'll try to keep healthy. You keep healthy. You keep healthy as well. I'm doing okay with self-isolating. Hope you're doing well. All right. So then we have Nerissa. Is that her name? Narek and Nerissa. That's just... Anyway. One second. One second, guys. Sorry. All right. So then we have the standoff between Seven of Nine and Nerissa. Nerissa is getting the weapon systems activated. Again, I don't see how she was able to get as far as she did without being detected, but hey, it's whatever. Apparently, you can control all of the Borg weapons systems from this console. So here's my thing. Maybe it was the Romulan technology. Well, you could argue that it was Romulan technology where they're making it... maybe it was the data technology or the Romulan technology where they were making it so that you could press buttons for it to work out, because that's how Romulans work. I'm not sure why the Borg wouldn't have holographic technology if the La Sirena has it. I also, again, her being able to access and get the weapons activated just seems preposterous to me. I guess it could make sense. It's not a huge deal. But just for me, that just seems really silly. But she does get the weapon systems activated. And then Seven of Nine shows up and they have a standoff, a fight. I do like the fact that Seven of Nine isn't stupid. She has Nerissa throw the weapon down. Nerissa says, well, now I have no weapons. And Seven of Nine says, yeah, that's not true. I'm not stupid. Obviously, you have other weapons. Which she does, and she disarms her. And so they have a fight. The fight isn't that bad. I don't hate it. It works out exactly how you would expect it to. I mean, Seven of Nine is a Borg-enhanced human. Even if we assume that Nerissa has the advantages that we see Vulcans have, it's either an even fight or Seven of Nine. Seven of Nine would have an advantage. So the fight goes well. She ultimately kills Nerissa. So here's something that a lot of people, if you're a Trekkie, you're about to get really mad at me, and I completely understand. But during this fight, towards the end, I just think that was so good. It is so not Trek, but so awesome. She tells Nerissa, she yells at Nerissa, hippity hoppity, you're on Borg property. And then holds her like over the edge and says, it is my pleasure to yeet you from this world. And then just drops her down. And I get it. It's not completely or utterly Trek, but it is like, I think it's really awesome. I really enjoyed when she yelled hippity hoppity, get off Borg property. And that did actually happen in this. Again, it's one of the small things, So let's see what the super chat was, along with your comments, because that's why we're here. This is more focused on you. It's making you the subject line. Telma, again, helping out the channel. Thank you so much. Did Data want to die, or was Picard who needed some, or was it Picard who needed some closure? I didn't get that. I didn't like the first season. I hope new writers will be added. We're going to talk about that later. I think Data did want to die. I think that was Data. I don't think that it was just him wanting closure or anything like that. I do think she wanted to die. But yeah. I was real neutral or meh on the first season. This one is, this is a really bad episode in my opinion. Just really bad. But yeah, I mean, she did. She yelled, while they're fighting, she yelled, hippity hoppity, get off Borg property. And then towards the end, she was holding off and she said, I'm yeeting you. I think, not this world, but I think Alpha Quadrant. She said, you have been yeeted from the Alpha Quadrant, and throws her down the shaft. Yeah. So did she? She may have. She might survive like, what's his name did? Not Ray, the other person. Oh man, who was he? He was in the new trilogy. The epic bad guy. He was a Skywalker and a Solo. Hell, you guys are going to tell me 30 seconds later. But that guy, where he was thrown off the edge and suddenly comes back. Hey, beautiful. Now, let me finish this before you watch that, okay? I love you. All right. You're awesome. Yeah, you are awesome. This is actually the first episode in all of New Trek, which got me emotional. Thus, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Okay. She showed Riker how it's done. She did. Kylo, that's it. That's who I was looking at. Kylo. It was Kylo. All right. So going back to it, now we're going to get to the La Sirena with the captain on board. It wasn't Palpatine. No, it was Kylo. Palpatine. Yes, Palpatine. That's who it was. Palpatine's a Skywalker. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. I hate you all. All right. So the Romulans show up, and we also have the La Sirena. You have the captain and Agnes, and you have these flowers, which, by the way, these flowers should not be able to move as fast as they were. I know they were. We see them moving up in a previous scene a bit before these Romulan ships show up, but still, they are absolutely slow as hell. There's no reason that they should be able to even put on par before the Romulans just absolutely WTF McPone them. So the La Sirena comes up. You're having a ton of combat and battle. During this time, Picard keeps contacting Soji, saying, Soji, please don't do this, Soji. No, God, no, Soji, no. You can be better than this. And during this time, there's just like an apocalypse of these flowers with the La Sirena going in and out. The entire time you see that he's succumbing to the sickness. They decide to use the MacGuffin. Well, one thing he does, Picard's like, look, we're worthy. Is like, look, Soji, you sweet summer child, and I thought this was, I thought this was a little strong for Picard. I never thought that Picard would say this, but he literally directly says, this is a quote for quote, Soji, you sweet summer child, you lovable fool, you idiot. You lowest, when you walk into a room, the IQ lowers because of you, Soji, but just know that I love you, because apparently me saying I love you is something I do throughout this series now. And I want to show you, even though this entire series, Soji, the entire Star Trek Picard series, he says this quote for quote, the entire Star Trek series, of Picard, Soji, has showed you how humans are different and how we can be kind and how we care and how we can help you out. Even though you most of the entire time we've seen you have evidence to show not. You believe that humans and others can't save you, that we're all just going to turn on you. And so I'm going to sacrifice myself, Soji, to once again show you, even though you've been shown 1,000 times, that humanity is worth it and that we're here to save you, Soji. And so I'm going to give my life while you continue to contact the people that's going to destroy everything and everybody I love. And so he contacts her, says all of that. After all of the flowers are destroyed and devastated, they use the MacGuffin, the thing that can do basically everything. I mean, there's no reason to ever not have this thing. To have 1,000 La Sirena show up in front of the Romulan fleet. And so now the Romulan fleet thinks they have like 6,000 Sirenas in front of them. Now, here's the thing. Here's the piece. Here's the problem. Commodore O is supposed to be the best Starfleet security person ever. Like she is just like the smartest, bestest, most just greatest person like ever that's ever existed. It only takes one photon torpedo, maybe two, to destroy that entire colony. To at least take out that tower. The La Sirena by itself could do it. Now, Kowalski pointed this out. I got to give him full credit. You see all of this fleet show up. Why not just send one, maybe two. Let's be careful. Let's send 2 warbirds to destroy the colony while we take on this fleet. Or if we're afraid that the 2 warbirds can't get past it, have every ship fire 1 photon torpedo at the colony. They can't stop them all. It only takes 1 torpedo and they're done. So no matter what issues come up, whether they're fighting the Flowers, whether they're fighting the 600 million La Serenas, whether they're fighting the spoiler Starfleet armada that shows up, 1 photon torpedo fixes all of these issues. Every one of them. Everyone. But no, we don't. What we do is we focus on the immediate threat and we don't multitask because that's for losers. Multitasking is for, if you have ever multitasked, you're a loser. A loser. So anyway, this works apparently until Picard starts having issues because he's dying. And looks like it's going to be the end of the world. And then, lo and behold, hold on, wait for it. Oh, come on, where is it? Hold on. Y'all need patience. Either that or everyone's going to leave. I also love how Commander O is in... There it is. How Commander O is in black because she's the bad guy. Starfleet shows up, people. Though they only decide to bring 1 ship. Because why would you develop several different ships or use other ships? Because you know what we can do? You know what we can do? Here's what we can do. We can use discovery ships. We can show discovery ships. We can do that, because why the hell not? 22nd century vessels that wouldn't be able to defend anybody. Let's show those. We can do that, but God forbid you show any vessel that's from the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, or Voyager, because that's too far. Let's just go ahead and use the older ships. Let's not give what people want. Let's just show the exact same vessel, copy and paste it. Yes, I like that vessel. Yes, it's from Star Trek Online. But the frustrating piece here is that one of the reasons why Starfleet was supposed to be better than the others was because it was diverse and the ships were diverse. But no, we're just going to copy and paste this. And God forbid that we have one Akira class or Galaxy class or Defiant class. God forbid we see that. But in the first parts of the episode, the one thing we can show, what we can do is have Discovery-style shuttles and Discovery ships, because a Walker class is exactly what's going to save the day. Not an Akira, not anything like that. I do not like this episode. I don't like anything about this episode. I don't like it. I don't like anything. So, the standoff is written very Trek. I like what they were trying to go for, and I think it is interesting. I think that these ships show up. These ships say, hey, this planet is under our protection, under the Treaty of Algeron. Because apparently that still is a thing, even though it makes no sense. Under the Treaty of Algeron. And it's Riker that shows up, because, we got to have nostalgia. And they're protecting the planet, even though what's happening on the planet, it would probably mean the destruction of everything. That's actually very Starfleet. Believe it or not, This is stupid. Starfleet really should be on the Romulan side. They really should. Absolutely. That's the pragmatic thing to do. You got to protect everybody in the universe. But they don't. They decide to let the possible killing of everything happen and defend it. That actually is very Starfleet ethos. It's not smart. It's not pragmatic. But it is Starfleet ethos. So I'll grant that. We then have Riker come up. Jesse Gender and Katwalski called it. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That's fanfare. I don't see why they do that, but it's whatever. Here's another piece. This is the worst part. This is the worst part of all of this. Commander O, General O, was the head of Starfleet security. She was able to have command codes that caused the destruction. She is the reason why 100,000 people are dead and Utopia Planitia is gone and Mars burns. She has all of the information on Starfleet's, all of their fleets, all of their abilities. There are codes that can deactivate the ships. She can do innumerable amounts of damage. Unreasonable amounts of damage to Starfleet. The amount of harm that would be done is insurmountable. If you remember, when Spock decided to go and help the Romulan people, they actually were looking at possibly assassinating and killing him because an ambassador, a very high-ranking, very beloved, very tops who had a lot of clearance, had decided to go and be a part of the Romulans. And what are they going to do with the head of Starfleet security? What are they going to do with a treasonous person that killed hundreds of thousands of people? They offer to let her go. They say, you know what? If you don't fire on us and you leave, we're going to let you go. That's not Starfleet ethos. That's not Starfleet naivete. That's idiocy. That's dumb. That's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen. Riker should be put in jail for aiding and abetting a traitor. She cannot be allowed to leave. That fleet and all of that information cannot be allowed to go. You're telling me the head of Starfleet security is a Romulan spy, and you're just going to let her go. Remember, the only reason Picard let the Romulan spy in TNG go way back when was because he was outmatched. And that was just another ambassador. That wasn't Spock. I was talking about the other one. I forget the name of it. Just going to let him go. Just going to let him go. Knows everything. He talks about how this is the most advanced vessel, the most powerful vessel that he has. She knows everything about it. She probably helped construct it. But we're going to let you go. All you got to do is not fire on us. That's it. That's all you got to do. Don't fire on us. It all works out. It's okay. Shh. Please. You got into the very heart of Starfleet. We're just going to let you go. It's okay. It's no big thing. I mean, who cares? Who cares? It's a bad episode. It is so bad. Okay. I do like where they were trying to go with it. I think it's powerful to see the two go back and forth. I honestly would have loved to seen a battle But I like what they were trying to do. It just doesn't make any sense, and it could have been a lot better if they hadn't tried to cut corners. So Picard's dying. Basically, they save the day. Picard's like, look, the Federation is standing in the way of them, even though you're about to destroy everything. And Soji's like, oh, you know what? The last complete series, this entire season, I've seen you make sense and it all be justified. And I've seen how humanity is worth saving. And all of a sudden, you proved it again. So you know what? We're just going to cut it off. Before that, there is one piece I do like. So, and that's not here. When he's talking to Commander O, he says, you know, we'll escort you out of Starfleet space. And Commander O is like, we know the way, or we can do it ourselves. And he says it's no trouble at all. So an entire fleet is following a fleet of Romulans, which was kind of cool. But again, you know, she figures out that it's bad. We never figure anything out about the bad guys. We don't know what's going on here or why this even occurs. So they present this big bad, that this Mass Effect threat that's going to occur, and then do nothing with it. We don't know anything about it. We don't know who they are. They aren't ever completely stopped. They can simply reconstruct this beacon at any time. This is not resolved. Not in the slightest. Not in the littlest bit. They just stop, for right now, transmitting. It's never explained who these people are. It's never explained who this big threat is. Why do they exist? Why would they destroy all of humanity? I mean, it talks about how it happened in the past, so we'll just come and help you figure it out before, but we don't know anything about what happened. Was it a misgiving? Are these the actual bad guys? Maybe they were lying. Maybe they said they were there to help, but they weren't. It's completely forgotten. Like everything else, they never go through or move on the plot points. They present a way to stop it, and then don't do anything else. Don't ever explore it. So, all right. Picard says goodbye to Riker and doesn't tell him he's dying or anything, because that would be just, you know, that would make sense for two long friends for him to say, you know, goodbye. But, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. None of it matters at all, ever. It won't ever matter. Spoilers, Picard dies. Oh no. Oh no. I did not for a second believe that they were going to keep him dead. You're telling me you got what, 20 minutes left? You got 20 minutes left. You're killing him at the 37-minute mark? Come on. Come on. Come on. Seriously? Then you have, so he dies, and Soji's like, oh my god, I've forever and always, it's so sad. So sad. And then you see all of them mourning. Here's what I love. Here's what I just absolutely adore. 7 of 9's a murderer. She is straight up. She murders people. And is in a way a bad person in that. Is not the good guy. She's an what's the word I'm looking for? Not anti-protagonist. She's an anti-hero. And people got really upset about that. And people said, no, the person she was killing was a bad guy. The person she was killing deserved it. Yada, yada, yada. She admits it right here. She admits it right here. How's it feel to always be wrong when you argue with me? The character themselves talks about how it wasn't good that she killed somebody in cold blood just because they deserved it. How she was a murderer. She admits it. I get tired of winning. I get tired of beating you people all the time. I mean, I love you. You're my audience. But I get tired of being right. She admits it. She admits that it was wrong and that she murdered a person. She didn't want to do it anymore. I was right. I was right. This is why I get all of the people, the men and the women, and you don't. Because I know what I'm talking about. This is why. This is why I get more than you. Because I'm better. Because the character admitted it. Damn, I'm good. The next piece. I know this was supposed to be emotional. The next piece to it. I gotta be honest with you. The way the actor Elnor cries, I get that it was supposed to be emotional, but I found that very, very funny. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just the way it was acted. Did you know I was right that she was a murderer and a bad person and that she admitted it? Do you know that? So if you ever say that, I'm just going to make you eat that scene right there. I'm going to make you eat it. I'm going to make you eat the hell out of that scene. Before we get into what everybody really liked, what are your guys' thoughts? Where is it going? Where are we going? 7 just drunk too much. Later, it'll be all fine. Give over, Laura. You loved this show last week. I didn't say I loved this show last week. I've never loved this show at all. I don't think I've ever. Trek Culture says, fight me. I will fight you, Trek Culture. I will fight you on the streets, as Angry Joe would say. Question, how many planetary sterilization patterns do the Romulans need? That line from Commander O made us. They need 7. 7. No more and no less. No less. 7. That's how many. Just want to jump in and say thanks. I'm watching from work, and this is a welcome and fun distraction from all the freaking out that's happening over the virus. Anything for you, Samantha. Anything. We don't... I somehow wonder what they did to Picard's real body. They probably destroyed it. 7 just drunk too much. We already talked about that. Why did Robo-Girl Twin help emo Romulan boy escape? We discussed that. She helped him escape and kill the person. So that her evil plans could be done. So that she could say they can't be trusted. Though, that's a good question. Why didn't she just kill him? So she kills her sister, kills him, buries his body somewhere, and just says that he killed her and couldn't escape. Why did she actually let him escape? I don't know. Stripped to the waist, skin on skin. That's weird. It's just a D&D game with a very lenient DM. I'd agree with that. I haven't watched an episode for myself yet, but this show seems like a mess. It is a mess. That is true. So, let's get it on. What's going on, Rock Solid? When did 7 suddenly get used to drinking? I mean, maybe she got a tolerance after a while. I guess you could say that. All right, so the scene that everybody loves, that everybody is like enamored with, is the Picard and Data scene. I didn't hate it. I don't love it. I didn't hate it. Honestly, the more I look at this, I just enjoy the technicals of it. I gotta be honest. I like the light in the middle and how the glow from the light specifically hits them and is creating a contrast. You can also see in the back that everything is grayed out, which shows that this is not real, that it is just a hollow projection. It's lost the vibrancy of life that we see. I think that, again, the cinematography, the use of light, the way they're sitting is really well done. If you notice, this is another frame. Remember, I talked about almost everything is framed in cinematography. You're inside some kind of frame, like they'll have like a door or an actual window. Happens a lot. People don't notice it, but it happens a lot. He finally gets to say goodbye to Data, which I think was nice. He got to tell Data he loves him because that's what Picard does now, I guess. It was a nice scene. It didn't make me cry. I didn't have an existential crisis. It was a decent scene. It discussed death and how he missed him. And the one thing I will say is I did like how Data says, hey, you know, I'm alive on like 4 USB things. And I'd like you to deactivate those. And Picard's like, well, why? Why would you... Why? And Data basically says, death is a natural part of life. I want the game to end. I've always wanted to be human. And so a part of being human is dying. I thought that was really well done. Though, again, it doesn't... it is somewhat threadbare because basically what can happen is they take the 4 USB ports out and then they just put it back in. So it's not like, you know, massive or anything, I guess. It's the fact that he can be brought back at any time kind of takes away from it just a little bit, you know? I don't know. We have Raw666 helping out the channel. I think the writing is just right for the show, as all the grotesque things that happen in Dead Space conveys it's a dead universe. All the grotesque things that happen here conveys how dead the writers are inside. That's accurate, is what that is. Talk to you later, Donor Kebab. All right. So we'll keep going on. So, lo and behold, he's alive. They came back. He has a new body. One of the weirdest things, though, is he's like, I'm not going to live forever. And Agnes says, we were listening. So were they watching the two while they were talking? Were they watching Data and Picard while he was in there? Because that's creepy. Not letting them have any privacy. But anyway, he's going to die a natural death whenever that happens. They've calculated it. I think this may have been a misstep because Picard is fairly old in real life, and it's possible he could pass away, and I think this makes it harder to explain it in the show. I mean, I don't want him to pass away, but Sir Patrick Stewart is getting on there in years. So they then have a like ceremony for Data, and even though Data had tons of friends who loved him, Riker, Deanna, people that would have wanted to be there at his funeral to say goodbye, Picard doesn't tell them. He's just like, you know what? All of his former friends that loved him and he loves, let's have Soji, who didn't really know him nor care, Dr. Soong, who I guess may, and Agnes, who wanted to destroy him in all life until 30 minutes ago. That's the way we should have it. That's God's providence, if you will. That's how you do it. Let's get to the ending. The ending really frustrated me. So, you have Agnes, a murderer, someone who should be living her life in a jail cell, getting away scot-free and apparently going with Rios. Fantastic. Glad to know people don't pay for their crimes. Hey, you know what? If you want to kill your lover, as long as you think they're going to end the world, I guess that's okay. I guess that's just the way that works. Then we have one of the most frustrating pieces, like excessively frustrating, beyond stupid. This scene. This scene angers me. Chosen Lord of Virulence says they should have kept Picard dead and made season 2 about his legacy. I think that would have been a messed up. I don't think they should have done that. They should have kept him alive, or I think they should. I think he should die. I think that's the natural ending of Picard. But if you're going to do that, I think then the series should end. Hey, what's up?
Where's Mom? Did Jerry leave?
No, I thought she was with you. Go downstairs. That's where she'll be.
Oh, she probably just went to the bathroom.
I don't know. Sorry, their mom is taking them out or doing something. I don't know. Whew. This is the dumbest scene. Here's why. Discovery did it better. This is pandering. We have no reason to believe that these two ever had a relationship. I don't know that they shared maybe 2 lines between each other. I don't care if 7 of 9 is bisexual. I don't. I honest to God, do not. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. What I care about is writing a good story and making it make sense. This was only to get the LGBT fandom hyped. There's nothing behind it. It's pandering. It's just made so people can say, oh, look, representation. But it's not real representation. It doesn't really do anything. It comes out of nowhere, makes little sense. And again, it is like when Disney creates a character that they say is a lesbian or LGBT or trans, puts them in the background, and wants to get accolades for doing it. They don't do anything with the story. They don't bring it out. They don't normalize it. They simply try to throw it in there so useful idiots will talk about how awesome it is. It is disgusting. And again, I don't care if she is bisexual or completely lesbian now. I'm curious what happened to Chakotay, but it's whatever. I care that they're trying to take serious issues that we have in our culture and just trying to make money off of it without actually adding anything to the discussion. This is the most insulting thing. If you are LGBT, if you believe in alternative lifestyles like me, I have alternative lifestyles. I'm not afraid to talk about that. This doesn't help anything. Discovery did it better. Discovery had a fleshed out relationship with 2 gay individuals who actually felt like characters, and they weren't just there to be there. They were a part of the characters themselves, and it helped define who they were and how they impacted the universe. Whoever wrote this should be ashamed. That's my opinion on it. The one thing I do like is that they didn't have a cliffhanger. Like, at all. We just have, it's the standard trope. Everybody gets together, we're all a part of a team, yada yada yada. Whoops. And then they're off, to the races. They're off on their adventure. As we see here. I like that it didn't cliffhanger. I hate cliffhangers. I hope to God they never do cliffhangers. Cliffhangers are bad writing. Yes, that includes Best of Both Worlds. This was the worst episode of Picard. The worst episode of Picard. This is a easy 3 out of 10. Whereas the Picard itself as a Star Trek property is probably a 4 or 5 out of 10 for me. This episode would be a 1 out of 10 compared to other Star Trek. series. And against itself would be easy 3 out of 10. What do you guys thought? I got a couple meetings coming up very soon, so I can't stay on long. Lore, my brother's gay, and he gets tired of this nonsense, as do many of his friends that I have are part of the LGBT community. I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind sexuality being put in the forefront if you do something with it. If you just try to get brownie points, you're a bad person. I think you're being too hard on the episode. Brick Vibe, I think you're being too easy on the episode. The only issue I had with the series was that they tried to end it on an optimistic note where the future looks like it is going to a hopeful direction, but it's overshadowed by Discovery. They still may go somewhere bad with it, you know? I don't know. So what happened to Narek? Yeah, they leave that open, don't they? We don't know what happened to Narek or if he died. I think he probably, I guess, got on the ship and left. I don't know. Yeah, did you F any of them? I agree. That was not bad. Discovery and its shattered Federation. They still actually may shatter the Federation. All right, guys, I actually got a couple of meetings with YouTube, believe it or not. Where the hell is that coming from? Got a couple of meetings with YouTube, believe it or not. So I have to get off of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. No video upload today. I think me, Jesse, and Ketwalski are going to be doing a simulcast on Friday morning. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, guys. I'm going to see you on the next Lore Reloaded.